Hi, welcome guys to another video here at bestjuicer.net, and we have a beautiful summer day here in Berlin. It's 25-30 degrees Celsius. It's really hot, and obviously we're gonna make another juice that fits perfectly to this weather. We are gonna make a watermelon juice. Juicy, zesty, delicious. And we're now heading towards the farmer's market, and we're gonna select the best produce for our juice. As always, you can find the recipe on bestjuicer.net, and below in the comment section I will link to the recipe as well. So why don't you join me, and we're heading to the farmer's market. Let's go. Sometimes it's really hard to find a good watermelon because the problem is you can't really look inside. You really should slice it open before you actually buy it, but that's not always possible. So what we need to do is we need to look at the watermelon from the outside and really need to determine whether or not it's a good watermelon or not. So we have to look at the skin, we have to give it a thumb. Well, not always it's useful to really give it a thumb because you never really can tell whether it's a good watermelon or not. But we try our best and we see whether we can get a watermelon with a perfect juice for this recipe. So when you select a watermelon, it's pretty important to find one that is ripe, because the riper the watermelon, the more nutrient dense it is actually. So if it's nutrient dense, then obviously the juice is also going to be nutrient dense and very delicious. So when you lift the watermelon, it should feel really heavy because 90% of the watermelon is actually water. So it should feel heavy, and you can see if the skin is pretty dark. That's also a good sign for ripeness. Then you can look here at the end of the watermelon, or here. If this looks yellow, or if it's white, then it still needs ripening. So now it's like a lighter green. I would rather see it a little more darker in the end, because the darker it is, the riper the watermelon is, but I think this should be fine for our purposes. So I think we're gonna buy this watermelon and have a wonderful watermelon juice today. Okay, so we're back in our kitchen, and I really can't wait to finally juice our beautiful watermelon that we just selected on the farmer's market. And we have obviously other ingredients as well. The beauty of this juice is that it's very simple to do. You don't need a lot of ingredients, but what I like to do is buy some mint leaves, fresh mint leaves, and just add them to the juice because they have a really nice taste. And you can either, if you have a masticating juicer such as the Omega 8006, you can either choose to really juice them directly, or you can just take a glass, for example, a mason jar, and then smush it a little bit with the watermelon juice, and that combines pretty nicely. So first things that we got to do, obviously, is we need to cut and slice this thingy here and put it into our juicer. Now, the disadvantage of the Omega juicer is that it has a really small feeding tube, so we need to make sure that the slices we cut actually fit the juicer, and we're going to try to cut it in little cubes and then add it. So I'm just going to move this around a little bit. And first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the watermelon in half, like so. So you need a really large knife. This is actually a little small. I would prefer a little larger knife, but I think it will do. So when you have the watermelon, you can actually see the color. It's a pretty light color, but the darker the color is, the riper the watermelon is, and the more nutrient dense it usually is. So I would like to see the color to be a little darker, so it's a little light, but it's nice and heavy. That means ripeness, that means good water contents, 90–95% of water. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to twist the watermelon, and I'm trying to dice a little cubes that I can just tuck them out and plug them into the juicer. What we have to be aware of is that the nutrients of the watermelon are mostly contained in the white flesh. Many people don't know this, but the white is actually the most nutrient-dense part of the watermelon, where the lycopene is, where the flavonoids are, where the vitamin C is, and you want to have that in your juice. So make sure when you cut off the rind that you cut up as little as possible. Or if you're really hardcore, then you could buy organic watermelon and juice the rind with it, but it could be a little bitter. So what I'm trying to do now is I'm going to prepare my sticks in a way that I only slice very, very carefully the rind so that I have a lot of the white flesh still intact. And that cube should fit nicely into the Omega juicer, as you can see. So this is how we're going to juice it. So now I'm going to just prepare the cubes for the juice, and then we're going to start the juicing process. Okay, so we're now ready. We've separated the rind from the flesh, and as you can see, we left a lot of the white intact, and that's what we want. There are the nutrients, and now we're just going to start the juicing process with our Omega juicer. We need obviously our plunger to plunge the watermelon down, but as you can see, or as you will see rather, there's a lot of water in it, so it's going to be nice and juicy. And the best thing of it, it's also a rather sweet juice. So you can mix it really well with other vegetables, especially for people who don't like juicing vegetables so much. You can sneak in a couple of those veggies and make it even more healthy. But for this summer drink, we're just gonna leave it with mint and the watermelon. So let's start. There it is. This is a slow juicer. So it's gonna just squeeze the juice out of the watermelon quite slowly. So you need like 5 minutes or so to complete the whole watermelon juice, depending on how much juice you actually want. But the good thing about it is that it doesn't stress the nutrients so much in the produce as if you were using a centrifugal juicer. And that's what I like about those slow masticating juicers. Now, as I said, the chute is pretty small, so there are even the big mouth slow juicers that are a little more comfortable using, because you can fit larger cubes and larger fruits and vegetables inside it. But this one works really perfectly for my purposes and really squeezes a lot of the nutrients out. And as you can see, I mean, we've just juiced like a couple of those cubes, and look at how much juice yield we already have. If you compare it to other fruits and vegetables, watermelon has a lot of juice. It compares to cucumber pretty much. So, as I said before, you can either juice the mint or squash it inside the mason jar, and that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use like a wooden plunger here, and just going to grab like a small handful of mint, and we just basically do like a nice mojito cocktail or something. You just squash the leaves a little bit, because that's what really extracts a little bit of the flavor. So you don't really need to create a paste or something. You just want to squash it ever so slightly to enrich a little bit the taste of the mint. So it doesn't look so good because it gets dark and really quickly, but the taste is just worth it so much. So we're just gonna grab another handful of mint, push it into the glass, and plunge it a little bit. The smell is really, it's great. Lovely. Okay, that should do it. And now we're going to serve the first iteration of the watermelon juice, which we have here. Look at that color, it's amazing, isn't it? Reddish summer juice. So let's see how that works. Wow, look at that. Delicious. Oh, yummy. Pretty nice. Now we're just gonna fill it up. So this is around 500 milliliters, I suppose, and we used a quarter of the watermelon that you just saw in the video. So pretty nice juice yield. So now we're gonna just dedicate ourselves to the rest, and I'm gonna fill up the next mason jar, and then we're gonna enjoy a nice summer drink. So what we discovered is that it's actually easier to put the cubes with the harder end first, and have the juicer eat the harder end first, and then the soft end of the cube. Instead of you were just putting it that way, it tends to clog a little bit the juicer, and that's so that's why we're going to put it into the opposite direction, basically, as you would assume, and that works better. Those are the great tips that you get here on the channel, of course. Now that's what I call a delicious summer juice. And I really can't wait to drink it. So if you excuse us or me for this nice summer drink, we're just gonna have a sip, and I really hope you enjoy this drink. So I would really love to see your comments in the comment section below if you like this juice, and if you have other ideas for a nice summer juice that we could do here on the channel. Remember to subscribe, and happy juicing. That's good. Delicious. Okay, now that's for the real hardcore juicers. We're now going to test the juice with the watermelon rind as well. But if you do it, make sure to buy organic produce. Let's see. So that is really delicious, but I'm not really sure about that. We'll see. But that's what we do. We experiment with fruits and vegetables to get the best results out of our juices and with the most nutrients. Yummy, look at that. The best part about juicing the rind is that you don't have to throw anything away, and we hate throwing things away, especially if it's produce. So we like to use all what we juice, and we like to reuse the pulp as well for other dishes, and you can find more recipes on bestjuicer.net and our YouTube channel here. So there's so much you can do with a pulp. Okay guys, this is what we got out of the rest of the rind of the watermelon, and this is like the first time ever that we're gonna try something like this on this channel. So wish me luck. I'm just gonna try this juice and see how this extremely nutrient-dense juice tastes. So. Not too bad. It's very green, but it's not bitter or anything, so I like it. It tastes actually as if you were adding a little bit of broccoli or something. So, good juice. Okay guys, here is a last tip for you. If you make the rind juice, you can prepare perfect ice cubes with it and then use it the next day in your watermelon juice or any other juice for that matter. But it tastes especially good in watermelon juice, and it's perfectly healthy, and you get the benefits of the nutrient-dense ice cubes. So see you next time. Bye-bye.